Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare. Okay, so welcome everyone back to our daily Gita classes. We are going to be continuing on the introduction of the Bhagavad Gita, and we are going to be reading from the paragraph that starts with the complete whole, the personality of Godhead. I'll go to page number 13. So it might be different on your books, but the paragraph starts with the complete whole, the personality of Godhead has immense potencies. Okay? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Sorry, what's the chapter before that?
The paragraph before that is called People with Less Intelligence Consider the Supreme Truth to be Impersonal. Okay? Right. So we'll start with the Mangalacharan. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kathamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sudhe Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so we begin. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. Okay. The complete whole, the personality of Godhead, has immense potencies. Parashya Shakti Vividaiva Shruyate. How Krishna is acting in different potencies is also explained in Bhagavad Gita. This phenomenal world or material world in which we are placed is also complete in itself, because the 24 elements of which this material universe is a temporary manifestation according to Sankhya philosophy. sorry, yeah, according to Sankhya philosophy, are completely adjusted to produce complete resources which are necessary for the maintenance and subsistence of this universe. There is nothing extraneous, nor is there anything needed. This manifestation has its own time fixed by the energy of the Supreme Whole, and when its time is complete, these temporary manifestations will be annihilated by the complete arrangement of the complete. Okay, so let us understand this much. So, there is something known as Sankhya philosophy. Now, Sankhya philosophy is actually even discussed in the second chapter of the Gita. And what does this mean? So, the word Sankhya philosophy comes from the word Sankhya, which means to count. So, Sankhya or Sankhya philosophy is all about breaking down everything that you see into its components, into its building blocks. And then once you understand the building blocks of it, then you'll be able to understand exactly what it is, outlook, what something is made out of. Okay? So this is a very, very important sentence that I've just said here. What I've said here, and what Krishna is and Prabhupada is saying is, this phenomenal world or material world in which we are placed is also complete in itself because of the 24 elements. What are the 24 elements? So let's count. Yeah? The first five are the 5 gross elements: earth, air, water, fire, ether. Okay, these are the 5 gross elements. Now, from these gross elements, 10 different senses come about. There are 5 knowledge acquiring senses and 5 working senses. Okay, so what are the knowledge acquiring senses? From these 5 elements, there are 5 senses: smell, sight, taste, then sound and touch. Okay, so 5 gross elements, 5 senses. To be able to understand these 5 senses, there are 10 sense organs. So 5 sense objects. So sense objects. So these are the sense objects. These 5 smell, sight, sound, touch, and taste. These are the 5 sense objects. For you to be able to know these objects, you need the 10 senses, 5 working senses and 5 knowledge acquiring senses. What are your knowledge acquiring senses? Where do you see from? Your eyes. Where do you smell from? The nose. Where do you taste from? From the tongue. Where do you feel the sensation of touch? In your skin. And where do you hear from? From your ears. So these are your 5 knowledge acquiring senses. And then there are 5, which ones? Working senses. Now these are the senses that help you to interact with the world. Which are these? You have your hands, your legs, your voice, then your anus and your genitals. These are the 5 working senses. So 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5. How many are there? 20. Then you have the subtle body. The subtle body is made out of 3 things. What are the 3 things? Mind, intelligence, false ego. And then governing all of these 23 is known as the 3 modes of nature. So this is how you get your 24 elements. Okay? And beyond this 24, there is a soul, and beyond that is a super soul. So there are 26 in total, 24 of which are material. And with these 24 elements, the entire universe functions. Okay? It functions with these 24 elements. So, what Prabhupada ji is saying here, it's very important for us to understand that these 24 elements of which this material universe is, where is it? Yeah. is also complete in itself, because the 24 elements of which this material universe is a temporary manifestation according to Sankhya philosophy, and they are completely adjusted to produce complete resources which are necessary for the maintenance and subsistence of this universe. So this means, and this actually gives a very big rise to why there is a question of atheism in this world, because these elements are put in such a way that a person can just look at this and be able to write God away from the equation, because these 24 elements are complete in themselves. You know, in the Sri Ishopanishad, in the invocation, it says Om Purnam Ada Purnam, that from the complete, which is Krishna, complete living entities and complete elements come out.
Anything emanates from Devi Jana.
Yes, anything that emanates from Krishna is also complete. So even this universe is an emanation from Krishna. Yes, so it is complete in itself. Krishna doesn't have to come in here to maintain everything. It just maintains on its own, under the supreme will of Krishna. And this is what causes the concept of atheism to come about. Okay? So in this world now, there is a lot of sensitivity and a lot of problems, that when a person who is scientific, he says that he is religious, he is immediately ostracized. And if a person says he is religious and also believes in science, then he is also kind of ostracized and says that, oh, how can you believe in religion and science in two ways? How can you do it? It's impossible. So if you think about our history, think about the history of all the great Indian scientists. They were all Brahmanas. They were all very religious people. Think about Aryabhatta, Brahmagupta, then who else was it? There's all the yogis, Patanjali. Then there's even Ayurveda. All these are great sages and brahmanas. They are the ones who created so much scientific knowledge, material knowledge, and at the same time they were very religious people, right? So not even that far, not even back in our Indian Vedic history, even up to 500 years ago, even the scientists of the Renaissance period in Middle Europe, Middle Ages, they were also very religious. They were also like Newton. Newton was a religious fellow, and yet he made such groundbreaking scientific discoveries. But he did not say that just because I've made these discoveries that there is no God. In fact, what he did is that through his scientific discoveries, he had greater and greater appreciation for God. Yes, he did not sidetrack God. In fact, there's a story, and many times it's been repeated, that one time he made a model of the universe, and then he called his close friends, and then the close friend says, oh, you've done such a wonderful job. He says, no, it just happened by chance. He said, what do you mean? You must be joking. He said, no, I just woke up and I came into my workshop, and lo and behold, it was there. He's like, no, you must be joking, you're crazy. He's like, actually you're crazy for thinking that everything can come out from nothing. There must be a creator. So let us try to understand, why did this happen? Why is it that before, people who were scientists were also very religious people, but nowadays there's such a demarcation, there's such toxicity between the two groups. So let us understand this. So even the sages were scientists, like Sankhya philosophy. They even went up to the knowledge of what is an atom to understand that. So what is it that made the sages scientific yet religious and the modern scientists to be atheistic? Let us understand this. So when you're looking at Sankhya and modern day science, they are both trying to understand the world. Sankhya is trying to understand the world in its building blocks, as we just described the 24 elements. And science is also trying to understand the world through its building blocks, which is atoms and subatoms and neutrons and protons, electrons and whatever. Now the key difference here is the purpose behind why they were understanding it. What was their intention behind doing science? That we have to understand. So the Vedic sages and what we call the scientists, they were undertaking Sankhya philosophy to know the building blocks, but for what purpose? For detachment. To get detached from it, to get detached from matter. And what are the modern scientists doing? They are trying to understand the building blocks so that they can try and control nature. They'll get attached to nature. This is the fundamental difference between the sages and the modern scientists. One is trying to get detached from matter, and the other one wants to control matter. Okay, have we understood this point perfectly? So, if I want to put it as an example, say there is a cake. What are the building blocks of a cake? All the Matajis, tell me. You guys are experts in making cakes. What are the building blocks of cakes? Which ingredients? Flour, butter, sugar, milk, oil, yeah? Salt. All these are basic ingredients that are needed to make a cake. Okay? Now if I tell you, put 2 cups of flour in your mouth, then drink a bit of oil, then put a bit of salt, put 2 spoonfuls of sugar in your mouth, and then the cake will be formed in your stomach. It's the same. You're eating a cake or you're eating its raw materials. There should be no difference, right? It's just when those materials are combined in certain way, the product makes it enticing for you. It is irresistible. But when you understand that the cake is nothing but just flour, sugar, oil, all that, then it breaks your illusion into thinking that this is something that is not what the sum of its parts. Okay? Why? What does scientist do? Oh, what does scientist do? Oh, this is this is it. Now let's combine it in more ways to make even better cakes. So one is trying to get more and more into the ability to make better cakes and to make better and better stuff, and the other one is trying to get detached from the desire of having cakes, and one is creating extra desires for having more and more sophisticated cakes. Yes? You see this now? Do you see this very nicely? Okay. So but as time went on, yeah, the sages were mostly in the mode of goodness. Yeah, but as time goes on, the consciousness got degraded, right? The purpose of doing science got degraded. Before, science was meant for you to understand how Krishna has created and maintains the world. And so when you were studying science, it was a religious activity, it was a devotional activity, because it would have increased your appreciation of Krishna's greatness, of God's greatness. In fact, Newton, when he created or he termed his mathematics, a field of mathematics called calculus. I don't know how many of you have studied calculus in school, But there's even I've studied calculus. Do you know the story of how the word calculus came about? So Newton was on the beach, and that time in the UK the beaches are very rocky and they're full of pebbles. And in Latin, the word for a pebble is calculus. And so he picked up a small pebble and he looked up into the sky and he said that my knowledge is like this small pebble compared to how you have created this entire world. And that is why he put his very advanced mathematics as calculus to signify how humble his knowledge is compared to how God has made this entire universe and is running this entire universe. And what is mathematics all about? It's all about uncovering how God does his work. It's just about that. So this is we can understand that even 500 years ago the scientists were also religious. What has caused it from becoming a theistic pursuit to coming into an atheistic pursuit? So what has happened is that, again, as I said, that the consciousness behind why science was studied has gone from being detachment to going into controlling nature. And as more and more technological advances took place, more and more scientific knowledge increased, the more people were able to create more technology that was enabling them to try and shape nature. They thought that now they can conquer nature. Okay, they can conquer nature. So this increased their illusion that they are controllers, that they can control nature. And then what happened? Now when the seed has come about that we can start to control nature, then there's a problem. Okay, what's the problem? That all the theistic books are saying that God is creator. He is creator. So in theism, God is known as being the creator, and God is also known to be the controller. And then they said that, okay, he might be the creator, he might be the controller, but is this always true? Yeah, we don't see God's hand in the running of the universe. We see laws, we see gravity. We don't see Krishna pulling everyone down from the center of the earth. No, it's gravity that's doing it. Where is God in the equation? So they said, okay, God might be the creator, but he is not the controller. Laws of nature are the controllers. So this concept is known as deism. D-E-I-S-M. So from theism it went to deism. So theism was what? God is creator, God is controller. What is deism? God may be the creator, but God is not the controller. What is the controller? The laws of nature. The laws of nature. Now we say that, how can that be? If there is a law, that means there must be a law maker. Yeah? If there is a design, there must be a designer. But you know what was the example that they gave in countering to this? A watch. They said, who created the watch? Okay, a master craftsman has created this watch. Okay, but is he moving the dials for you every single time, or is the mechanism within the watch doing it for you? Huh? What is causing the hour hand, the minute hand, the second hand to move? Is it he personally doing it, or is it the mechanism that he's created inside it that is now ticking over and doing it for you? So he said, okay, this makes sense. So this was known as the clockwork universe. That Krishna or God has created it, but that's it. Then the laws of nature are now controlling the universe, just like the mechanistic programming of the watch is taking care of the running of the watch. And then what happened? Then from deism it became very easy to cross that no, God is not the creator. That God is not even the creator. The laws of nature are the creator. That it just happened because of a big bang and all that. So just the laws of science has created it, and now we are the controllers because we can change and mend nature to our liking. Yeah, the more we learn about the laws, the more we will be able to control the laws. So now this is the timeline of how things have flown from a theistic point of view, of looking at science from a theistic point of view, looking at a science in a very atheistic point of view. And again, the base reason for this is because we are trying to control. We are not trying to get detached. Okay? And for us to be able to see Krishna's hand behind this, our material senses cannot do that. What do we need? As we said before, we need the eyes of knowledge. We need jnana chakshu for us to be able to see this. Okay? And this idea of controllership, this is what Krishna says in the 16th chapter, verse number 8. Jagat ahur anishwaram, that this world has got no controller, no God to control it. It is done just by laws. Yes. Prashant. So it has come about because of unsatiable, okay, just by lust, sex desire. There's no other cause for this. Yeah. So that's what demons do. That's what Krishna says in the 16th chapter, that the quality of a demonic person is that he wants to be in control. And so when the idea of God is presented, it's a threat. So then they come up with different ideas to say that there is no God. We are gods. Yeah, because they want to be the controllers. And then they come about with such ideas, as Krishna says in text 8, Jagat ahur anishwaram. Ishwaram is God. Anishwaram means no God. And Jagat is world. Ahur means there is. So there is no God to control the world. Okay? So now we understand, or we read further. So has this been understood perfectly? Why atheistic views exist in the world? Yeah, because first, as the consciousness degrades, there is a desire to be controllers, and this controlling is a quality of the demonic. Yes, and this is because there has been a perversion in the pursuit of scientific knowledge. Okay, now let's read ahead. Okay, this manifestation has its own time fixed by the energy of the Supreme Whole, and when its time is complete, these temporary manifestations will be annihilated by the complete arrangement of the complete. Okay, now this is a bit of a tongue twister. You have to understand what each word of complete means. Okay, so let us try and understand what each word means. Okay, so the first one is when the time is complete. That is very simple. That the universe has its own time span. What is the time span of universe? It comes in the Gita that it is one lifetime of Brahma, and again within Brahma's lifetime there are so many partial creations and partial destructions. We won't get into detail, but there is one big creation, like initial creation, and then the final annihilation, and the timeline for that is the lifetime of Brahma, which is roughly 311 trillion years and 40 billion years. Okay, so that is easy to understand. Now these temporary manifestations will be annihilated by the complete arrangement of the complete. So complete arrangement, this is already predestined. By who? The actual complete, and is Krishna. Now, there is complete facility. What does this complete facility mean? It means that there is enough guidance in the form of Vedic literature for you to be able to do what? There is complete facility for the small complete units, namely the living entities. So there is ample Shastric knowledge that is given from the beginning of the universe, because the Vedas are like the manual of life. Yeah? When this microphone was manufactured, it came with a user manual. Yeah? It doesn't come afterwards, it doesn't come before, it comes with it. So just as when the universe was created, it came with its user manual. And that user manual are the Vedic literatures. Okay? So there is complete facility for the small complete units, namely the living entities, to realize the complete, meaning to realize Bhagavan. And all sorts of incompleteness. Yes? And what is the incompleteness? Oh, I want happiness, eternal happiness, but I'm not getting it. There's some incompleteness in my life. And this is also suffering. We get suffering in this world when we are trying so hard to be always happy. Okay? And all sorts of incompleteness are experienced due to the incomplete knowledge of the complete. It's because we don't know Krishna. We have not realized our relationship with Krishna, because we've got incomplete knowledge of our constitutional position, that we are suffering. We are feeling incomplete in this world. So Bhagavad Gita contains the complete knowledge of Vedic wisdom. Okay, very interesting. So now this sentence, which has got so many words of incomplete, is a complete conclusion of everything. Okay? This sentence perfectly summarizes the entire situation. Now, this complete faculty, as I said, it comes in the form of Vedic scriptures, and these have to be learnt under the guidance of those who have understood the essence of the Vedic literatures. Now, what is the essence of the Vedic literatures? Krishna says in chapter 15, text number 15, Vedescha sarve eva vedyo vedanta krid vedavid eva chaham. That by all the Vedas I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas. Therefore, one who has realized Krishna is a true knower of the Vedas. Now, these people who have realized Krishna, who are the true knowers of the Vedas, so in the Vedas, the topmost is Srimad Bhagavatam. How do we know that? So, Srila Jiva Goswami has beautifully explained how Srimad Bhagavatam is the highest source of knowledge. And he's proven this in the Tattva Sandarbha. Okay, he's proven this. I think a few weeks ago I had given a class on this as well. That how Jiva Goswami establishes that Srimad Bhagavatam is the essence of the entire Vedic literatures, and the entire Srimad Bhagavatam is all about the glories of Krishna and his devotees. Okay? So, people who know this, people who have realized the knowledge of the Gita, they have realized the knowledge of the Bhagavatam, they are known as Bhagavatas also. Prabhuji gave the definition yesterday. There are two types of Bhagavat. There is the book Bhagavat, and then there is a person Bhagavat, the living Bhagavat. And it is actually more important for you to have association of the living Bhagavat, because just by observing them, you get to understand how to apply this knowledge in your own life and to perfect your life. Because how do you know they've perfected? Because Krishna says in the 4th chapter 34 that they are tattva darshina. They are the ones who have seen the truth. They have realized the truth. They have completed the journey. And so if you just follow their footsteps, you too will come to the same conclusion. So following the living Bhagavats is very, very important. Yeah? So again, as I already covered, that Krishna says that the complete facility is given in the form of the Vedic literature. And people again, as I said, that they say that, oh, how can you say that is complete? And we already said that Srila Jiva Goswami has already done the hard work. He's already shown how, if we want to know anything in life, any knowledge, if we want to gain any knowledge in life, where do you start from? So the first thing that you start from is by understanding that you exist. Yeah? Is there anyone who is alive here who doesn't believe he is alive? No, everyone is conscious that they exist. This is, you cannot refute this. Yeah, this is an irrefutable fact. That is there anyone who thinks that they do not exist, that they do not live? No, it's a given fact. So starting from the fact that there is consciousness, then you understand, okay, where am I? I'm in my body. How do I know? What do I know? You're relying on your senses. That's your pratyaksh praman. But we have got limitations of our pratyaksh praman. So then what do? Then based on what we have understood, or we know that from fire, from smoke comes from fire, and then we are standing at the bottom of a mountain, and then on the top of the mountain we see smoke. Then although we cannot see the smoke, the fire on the top of the mountain, because we have experience and we have seen that smoke comes from fire, we can make deductions. We can make logical deductions that there must be fire on the top of the mountain. That is why I can see the smoke. Although I'm here and I cannot see the fire, I can still deduce that there is fire on top of the mountain. Yes? So this is known as Anuman. So Anu means to follow and Mana means the mind. So you're following the knowledge that is already stored in your mind, which was stored because of previous knowledge that you have acquired through your senses. Okay? But this is not even enough, because even your mind has limitations. What is the limitation of the mind? The mind cannot think of anything which it has not experienced, and everything that we have experienced in this world is a material reality. We have not yet even understood spiritual reality. So even Anuman, it fails to understand transcendental topics. It fails to understand spiritual reality. So then what do? Now we are stuck. Then he said, no, you then can go beyond the limitations of Anuman by taking shelter of Shabda. You can take the shelter of words of authority. And then you said, okay, about there's so many words of authority, which one is the best? And then you said the one that is the best is the one that is coming from an eternal line, right? You can make objective tests and measures to understand which revelation of God is the highest. And then he said that the highest revelation is the Vedas, and within the Vedas the highest are the Puranas, and within the Puranas the highest are the six Puranas in the mode of goodness, and within those there is one which is known as the Amala Purana, which is known as Srimad Bhagavatam. And then the Gita is another one, because the Gita is so special, because it is spoken directly by Krishna. Okay, it's spoken directly by Krishna. So there's no, even Adi Shankaracharya, maybe at the end of the introduction, there's an entire Gita Mahatmaya. And over there, in one of the verses, it is said that if you take all the Vedas to be like a cow, if you take all the Vedas to be like a cow, then what is the essence of the cow? It's the milk. So the milk is the essence of a cow. And then how do you remove the milk? You need an expert milkman. You need an expert milkman to be able to extract the milk from the cow. So who is that milkman? Krishna. What is the milk? The verses of the Gita. And who is drinking that milk? Arjuna and also us. So he's put it so beautifully that the Gita is the essence of all Vedic knowledge. So that is why in ISKCON, two granths are emphasized. One, the Gita, and the other one is Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay? So that's how we understand that Vedic knowledge is actually complete. Right? So if you read a bit ahead, we see that it says, Prabhupada says that all Vedic knowledge is infallible, and Hindus accept Vedic knowledge to be complete and infallible. For example, cow dung is a stool of an animal, and according to Smriti or Vedic injunction, if one touches the stool of an animal, he has to take bath to purify himself. But in the Vedic scriptures, cow dung is considered to be a purifying agent. One might consider this to be contradictory, but it is accepted because it is Vedic injunction. And indeed, by accepting this, one will not commit a mistake. Subsequently, it has been proved by modern science that cow dung contains all antiseptic properties. So Vedic knowledge is complete because it is above all doubts and mistakes, and Bhagavad Gita is the essence of all Vedic knowledge. So here Prabhupada makes a very bold claim that Vedic knowledge is infallible. Even people who say that the Vedas say one thing and another thing, it's contradictory. That means what do you accept? Do you accept one part and you reject another part? No. The Vedic literatures are infallible. So when there is a contradiction, the fault does not lie with the words. The fault lies in our lack of understanding. Yeah? I give this example many times. That they say that two true statements. One, that let's say a name, John. Say that John is eating during the day. Yeah? He's not eating during the day. Say that John is not eating during the day, and that John is getting fat. Yeah? You know these two statements to be true. That John doesn't eat in the day, but then John is also becoming fat. And these both statements are true. So how do you reconcile them? So you reconcile them by adding a third statement, that John eats at night. Yeah? Because without eating, one cannot become fat. And if you are not eating during the day, you must be eating at night time. So in Vedic literature, these contradictions, yeah, when you're hit with contradictions, it stops in your track. It's like a bump. It's like a speed bump. When a speed bump comes out of nowhere, it alerts you. It makes you alert. And like, where did this come from? What is it trying to say? What is it wanting me to understand? So contradictions in the Vedic literatures are meant to make you alert, because they're pointing to something that is beyond your understanding. Yeah? In the Bhagavatam, I think in the 8th canto, it is said in one verse that Bhagwan is Anurupaya and Urupaya and I can't remember. But it was two things, that Bhagwan has many forms and that Bhagwan has no form. So when the Vedic literatures are saying that Bhagwan has no form, it is indicating to the fact that Bhagwan has no material form. It has no material gunas. It says nirgun, arupam. Rupam and arupam. Yes. So arupam, rupam means forms, and then arupam means no form. So when it says no form, it is indicating that it has no material form, and it's got urupam. So urupam has got many forms. That means it has got many different varieties of spiritual forms. In just one verse, a contradiction is given, and it is given because it is meant to take us understand the subject matter in a more deeper way. Okay, so we'll stop here, and we'll understand from the next session that how Vedic knowledge, because in this one what is happening is that up until now they were saying that the Vedic scriptures in one sense are saying that all stool is impure, but then they're saying that the cow stool is pure. It's a contradiction, and then they were not able to accept both these statements until there was research done, and until it was proved by material science that actually, you know what, the cow dung has antiseptic things. And so now going ahead, Prabhupada basically refutes that you cannot just hold off Vedic knowledge and wait for a proof to come out, because sometimes there will be no proof. Why? The reasons will be given. Yeah, the reasons will be given in the next chapter. Okay? Any questions? Any comments? Yes. Yes, observation. I think, yeah.
As you say,
Right.
the previous scientists,
Yeah.
like you mentioned, they were religious. As they were religious, they had the Vedic scientific knowledge, but they used to follow a little bit of that. And they invented so many things in the life to make the scientists what they are work. Today in the current world, the scientists do not have that, they are not that religious, they do not have that Vedic knowledge. And then, as you see the scientists inventing the nuclear weapons, and you see the present condition of the world, it is at war. So, if you really go back to the Vedic knowledge, from you started in your first sentence,
Yeah.
it means a lot.
Yeah.
Just an observation.
Yeah, it's very good. Actually, the reason why this is because of the different influence of the modes. Because the scientists of the previous ages or were sages, and they used to live in the mode of goodness, and they used to follow the Vedic scriptures, or even in this case of Newton, at least he used to be following the Bible. Yes, he used to follow some scripture. So when you're following scripture, then you are situated in the mode of goodness. And when people have said that scriptures are not important, what happens is your consciousness degrades, and it degrades to the modes of passion and ignorance. So I'm just going to read to you something that will hopefully make you see what your point is, and you just said it really nicely. Here in chapter 16, verse number 9, it says, following such conclusions, meaning conclusions, and what are the conclusions? That the world is unreal, it has no foundation, and there's no God in control. Okay, these are the conclusions of the demonic. And if you follow such conclusions, then they are lost to themselves, and they have no intelligence, and they engage in unbeneficial, horrible works meant to destroy the world. As you said, that they are utilizing their scientific advances to create nuclear weapons, and these are unbeneficial works. these are works that destroy the world. Yeah. So very good observation, and it really points out in the later chapters of the Gita why this has happened, and it's all because of the influence of the modes and the degradation from the mode of goodness down to the mode of passion and ignorance. And this is what 99.9% of the world is under the influence of the mode of passion and the mode of ignorance. Hardly 0.01% is in the mode of goodness, or is even trying to sustain themselves in the mode of goodness. Okay? Any other comments? Any other?
Now, being God conscious, anything created by the such person who is not God conscious, that is the cause of destruction. Ultimately, eventually, is going to be cause of the destruction, because he is creating something which is not from the root, creating so that like anything like aeroplane. They have created the aeroplane, they are going okay, but also there is a destruction. There is a noise pollution, there are so many pollutions are there. Before also there was aeroplane, there was no pollution. Now they have created the machines, so many diagnoses, but how much painful is diagnosis? Before only by seeing the person, by the touching this, they were saying you have heart problem, you have the liver problem, or you have this problem, that problem, they give the medicine to cure. But now you are cutting and everything, removing and checking, all is destruction. All is destruction. So godless society is only for the problem. Only the experts, godly person can utilize all those facilities, energies of the God. Because all the energy can utilize only intelligent person who is God conscious. Otherwise, all they suffer. All they suffer. Or all we go towards destruction.
ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय।